Does Notre Dame have a good social scene? In this video, I will answer that question, but moreover, I will talk about bars, parties, dorm parties, dating, hookup culture, and overall everything you can expect about social life at Notre Dame. My goal of this series is to give the most honest, comprehensive, and real look into life at Notre Dame, and I hope that this video can do that. So let's dive into it. The eternal question is Notre Dame a party school? And answer that in the comment section. Do you think Notre Dame is a party school? My answer to that question would be no, Notre Dame is not a party school. A party school is Alabama. A party school is Tulane. Notre Dame is not in the same tier as any of those schools when it comes to parties. But a caveat is that among top 20 academic schools, I would say Notre Dame is probably in the top 5 when it comes to social opportunities. So let's dive into parties at Notre Dame. If you're watching this video in years from now, this might be a bit outdated. From my experience being a student and from being back on campus, I think there are kind of 4 types of parties. 1, dorm parties. 2, friend parties, club parties. And 4, and everyone's invited, legacy parties. So I'll walk through them. First, dorm parties. Dorm parties are as Notre Dame gets. They're something where in your dorm, 95% of the time it is a guy's dorm. I did go to a great party in Farley one time, so shout out the Farley girls. So the dorms are tight, they're small. That doesn't mean that a lot of people don't come. In some of these parties, you're shoulder to shoulder, tight as a mug, and people are blasting music. There's oftentimes alcohol. There's oftentimes flashing lights. Sometimes people will steal stuff from the people's walls, which kind of stinks. Sometimes girls and guys will meet and they may kiss, which is crazy. Sometimes there will be a dance circle where Notre Dame students with no swag or no rhythm, including myself, will get pushed into the middle of the dance circle and try to dance. But the thing you should know about these dorm parties, besides the fact that they're tight and sweaty, is that oftentimes by the time people are juniors, they sometimes will look back at the dorm parties they went to as freshmen, sophomores, and almost laugh at them. Quickly, people seem to age out of dorm parties, and from my freshman year to senior year, they happen less. I don't know why, whether that was COVID related or not, but it seemed like Notre Dame dorm parties are less popular than they were 5, 10, 20 years ago. But overall, dorm parties are a great way to meet people. They're maybe not necessarily the most enjoyable, but they're something that I think a lot of people do enjoy. They're a great way to meet people, across campus, a way for guys and girls to meet people, and overall they can be exciting. So that was the first type of party. And also it depends on your dorm and rector. Certain guys' rectors are more chill with dorm parties. Some are a little bit more restrictive on the timing and the amount of people that can come. So it really just depends. One thing I'd like to mention is that for dorm parties, the universities try to shut it down, but historically there have been dorm-wide parties such as Carol Christmas, Dungle, or Maryland's Mansion in Keogh. Supposedly the university tried to shut dorm-wide parties down, but I imagine that they'll just still keep happening, just won't be as publicized. The first type of off-campus party is a club party. So an examples of this could be like an Asian house, climbing party, or a boxing party. And these happen less often than regular off-campus parties because they're tied to specific special interest groups. Like the boxing party happens twice a year, it's not every week. And oftentimes you either need to be in the club or to know someone in the club to go to these parties or to even know that the parties are happening. But also these parties are known for their high upside. Because these parties are often filled with people that you know and are like-minded and similar interests, the connection between the partygoer guest can be very high, and a lot of people may contribute their best nights at Notre Dame to these kind of club parties. The second type of party I will bring up is an off-campus dorm party. Because you have to live in campus for 3 years, it often works that the seniors in the dorm will live off campus, and when they do, sometimes certain dorms have a dorm party house. So for example, Fisher, which is gone, had a Fisher House that threw a yearly party that actually was one of the best parties that Notre Dame had. Other dorms will have, a Keogh House, a Dunn House, a Knott House. And not every dorm has this, but oftentimes they do. These parties happen less frequently, but oftentimes there can be like pre-games here before events. Oftentimes anyone in the dorm or everyone in the dorm is welcome to go. And during the first week of the year, these houses almost always throw some sort of kind of beginning year syllabus week party. So these are good. They happen less often, but they do exist. The third type of party is a friend party. So a friend party is having a junior, senior, whoever lives off campus, and they're just throwing a party because they want to throw a party. You usually have to know the person who's throwing the party, or be a friend of a friend who's throwing the party, or be a pretty girl. Those are kind of the three ways you can, go to these parties. For me as a freshman, I didn't really know about these parties. I didn't have the connections, the ins, so I didn't go to many. But as the years went on, I got to know more and more people and got more and more invites, even though a lot of people probably got invited to more of these than I did. These parties also have high upside because, it's a smaller group. Could be a birthday party, it could just be a themed party, but these often can be very fun. And the last party is a party that usually is open to anyone, and usually they're more prevalent at the beginning of the year, but I would just consider it a legacy party. So Legacy is a place off campus where seniors live. It's very kind of highly competitive to get these spots, and they sign their lease sophomore year. The thing about the Legacy is this is where all of the pregame Notre Dame football parties are. It's where the syllabus week big party is, and it's a party that anyone at Notre Dame can go to. Because often these parties are outside, it's just a free-for-all, and it's probably the biggest and craziest parties Notre Dame has ever had. If you're interested in what these are like, I made a video about St. Patrick's Day that you can see kind of what the Legacy parking lot looks like. So overall, there are 5 types of parties. In the dorm parties, off-campus senior year dorm parties, club parties, friend parties, and then like legacy, anyone's invited parties. So what was my experience at these parties, and overall did I enjoy them? And I would say for me, a big takeaway I had from college was it was always about the people I was with, not the size of the party, not how many drinks they had, not the music. And I found that by senior year, all FOMO I had basically disappeared. And I thought to myself, if I'm with the people I know I love and know I enjoy being around, then whatever party I go to will be great. And so I think that's a good philosophy to have, but it's something that comes with time, it comes with maturity, and comes when you get to know people that you actually care about, which doesn't happen immediately.
Hey, so I was just editing this video in just my beautiful New York apartment, and I forgot something. Football, the great American sport, the great Notre Dame tradition. Football at Notre Dame is huge. It's very important. It's a very big deal. Saturdays in the fall are dedicated to football. A lot of students, a majority of students go to the game. The stadium is on campus, so that means you can drink in your dorm, you can drink in the parking lot, and then go into the game. Yes, most students drink, most students drink. Underage people drink. You can get put in the drunk tank if you get caught drinking in the games or too drunk. But most students are at the games and they're hammered. Some students don't. So if you're a parent watching this, don't think this is bad. It's just, football, for a lot of students, this is the highlight. Football Saturdays are a highlight of their Notre Dame experience. Some students, like myself, maybe liked it a little bit less, but still some of the best moments or most memorable moments can come from the Saturdays. It's a great way to meet alumni, great way to hang out with friends before the game, and just overall, it's a good social vibe, and it's a very important part of the Notre Dame experience, so I wanted to bring that up.
Moving on, we'll talk about dorm events.
I am processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
Oh my God, there's money till I got there. I'll be the most thinking around me when we got his. We together, drop my hands. I push you mad, that's why
So the nice thing about Notre Dame is that there are dorm events that you don't need to get invited to, and that anyone can go to, and that are very inclusive and a great way to meet people. So this can be anywhere from big stuff like SYR dances to toga dances, to breakfast eating competition, to auctions, to all this stuff. Each dorm has a specific thing they do every year that's a great social event. But also it's just the smaller things. It's the ice cream socials that happen in your dorm.
That's how it keeps track of it.
What do we think? What do you think that first one is?
It's classified for that.
At the most real level, it's just guys hanging out in the section lounge. So specifically in the guys' dorms, this happens more from my understanding. In the dorms, there's an area called the section lounge, and it's in between everyone's rooms. And it's just where guys will go there, they'll sit down, they'll study, they'll play video games, they'll eat. But it kind of creates this culture of just talking with each other, with bullshitting with each other, hanging out. Okay, two last things I'll talk about. That is hookup culture and dating at Notre Dame. So first with hookup culture. No, Notre Dame does not have hookup culture, especially not on the same levels as other schools. People do hook up. People do kiss each other. People do other stuff that is further than kissing each other. People do break parietals, which is something I'll talk about in a future video, but basically saying people of the opposite sex can't be in each other's dorm at a certain time. People break that all the time. But compared to a state school, the vibe around hookups and casual sex is much less. For many reasons, and from what I've seen from friends and just people I've talked to, casual sex is much less common at Notre Dame compared to state schools and schools that have Greek life. Oftentimes, when you hear about sexual relationships, it seems like it's more prevalent to be people who are dating each other than people who are just doing one-night stands. You don't often actually hear much about the latter. So overall, Notre Dame, people hook up all the time, but the level of hookup culture is much, much lower compared to other schools or state schools such as University of Wisconsin or Alabama. Dating, and I would say for various reasons, I imagine that Notre Dame has a slightly above average propensity for people to start dating and form serious relationships. I think that many of the people here really think Notre Dame is a great funnel to meet people. You know, people are driven, they're smart, they're athletic, they're in good shape. All these characteristics of Notre Dame being a great place to find someone to date. And often some of these people actually marry each other, which is crazy. A funny Notre Dame phenomenon is dining hall dates, and that is where two people that are interested in each other potentially will go to the dining hall. But the funny thing about this is there's arguments about whether a dining hall date is a real date. I will let you guys talk about that in the comments. Do you guys think dining hall dates are real dates? Sometimes there is a bit of ambiguity between whether it is a date or whether it's just two friends kind of getting lunch with each other. And that can be funny times, as a guy may ask a girl, but a girl doesn't know to take it seriously or if it's just a friend. So that is kind of funny. But because there's a lot of like-minded people, driven people, Notre Dame is a great funnel to meet people. The next thing I want to talk about are bars. So the bars I will talk about are mainly upperclassmen bars that do not accept fake IDs. I'm not going to talk about freshman bars because from my experience, freshman bars change every single year. My freshman year, the freshman bar was Mott's and Garage Arcade. Both of those I think got in trouble, so I don't think they are. Last year, I heard that it was a place called Cool Runnings. I don't know if that is still the case anymore, but freshman bars change, but kind of like the famous upperclassmen bars seem to kind of stay the same, at least over a period of many years. So the three bars I'm going to talk about are Noof's, Ulf's, and CJ's. So Noof's is probably the most well-known bar. It has a dance floor. It's the biggest, it can fit the most amount of people. The line can sometimes be long if you go during very highly intense weeks, syllabus week, game weekends, and also going during primetime hours. So I'm not an expert on this, but there's a certain period, maybe between 10:30 and 12:30 that the line can be long. If you go early or you go late, the line is much shorter. Personally, I was never a huge fan of Noof's, but a lot of people, it's their favorite bar. And it's kind of the one that underclassmen will be most excited to be able to go to as an upperclassman because they always hear about it. Next, there's a bar called Ulf's or Old Finny's. And for me, This was my favorite bar. This bar is a mainly senior bar. It's a place where it's a bit less dancing, but a lot more talking. And I enjoy that personally. It was a great way as a senior to see other senior friends, to talk, to bullshit, to do whatever. But the music wasn't so loud that you couldn't freaking hear the other person. You had to scream. So overall, I think Ulf's is a great place to go as a senior and a bar that I really enjoyed. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is CJ's. CJ's is most popular on Thursday nights. If you go at a prime time, the line is going to be insanely long. This was some people's cup of tea, but for me, I wasn't the hugest fan. All three of these bars are around 1.5 to 2 miles-ish away from the main circle on campus. This means you can take an Uber, or if you're looking for excitement, fun, and an enthralling experience, you could ride your skateboard like I did almost every time I went out. Oftentimes, even my friend Big Mike would just skateboard to the parties and then throw our skateboards in bushes. So that's what you should know about the bar scene. Those are the big three. There's a lot of other bars I didn't bring up, like Backer, Corby. So those are great bars as well. I'm not going to dive into all of them, but those are good bars to check out as well. The three ones that I mentioned do have $5 covers. And overall, for the bars that are downtown, it feels generally pretty safe to be downtown. The downtown is a bit sterile. There's not much activity going on besides, college students waiting in line for the bars. So it never really felt dangerous being in that area. So let me know if I got anything really wrong. Let me know if I just was bullshitting. But I hope that this gave you kind of a more comprehensive and interesting look of the social life at Notre Dame. If you like this video, watch my next video where I talk about what dorm life is like and what the dining halls are like at Notre Dame.